And in fact, probably quite a few of you have actually seen something in stereoscopic 3D at one time or another. It's becoming a very pervasive technology in our world today, and I'm going to be talking about what exactly stereoscopy is, why you should care about it, and where it's headed in our future. Now, stereoscopy is centered around this idea of tricking your mind. It's all about creating this optical illusion that the images that you're seeing, that while are actually flat, when you perceive them, they seem to have depth to them. And this is done by presenting each of your eyes with a separate, unique image, and your brain interprets the disparity between the two in order to create this perception of depth. Now, this idea of each eye seeing a unique image was first posited by this guy right here. His name is Euclid. He was kind of a big deal back in 300 BC. He basically created the framework for modern mathematics. He first noticed through his studies that each eye sees a very unique image, and it's those differences that Charles Wheatfield here picked up on. He posited the idea of stereopsis, which is the idea that our eyes, each seeing a unique image, use those disparities to actually perceive depth. And he in turn created the first stereoscope, which in turn created our first real 3D image. Now, stereo went mainstream in 1903 with the first stereo film. And ever since then, it's gone on a roller coaster ride of popularity, where each new spike in the popularity of 3D has been brought on by developments in new technology, which brings us to where we are today, where stereo is being added to everything. Regardless, it obviously got its start in film, but now it's making its way into new sectors, including industrial and medical as well. So stereo is quickly becoming a very big part of our daily lives. Now, the question being is, where is stereo headed? Why should you care about it? Why should you care about it? I'm sorry. What exactly is it about 3D that benefits us? Where are these, why add 3D to our digital imagery? Why is that important at all to begin with? And the first simple answer to that is it adds a level of realism. When you create a 3D image, we in some way always try and bring it back to reality in some way, shape, or form, regardless of whether it's stylized or not. And when you create these 3D images, we see the world in 3D, so it only makes sense that we would take these digital images and also present them in 3D just to bring them that much closer to reality. Now, what this does for you is it creates a sense of immersion, so that when you're looking at your 3D image, that you actually feel like you're there, that you're a part of it. Now, if you're in a film, that may just bring you that much closer to the story. Or if you are, performing surgery, it makes you feel like you're right there in front of the patient, and that creates a connection. And it evokes emotion within you. This can aid the storytelling process. This can help bring you into the moment so that you can actually feel like you're experiencing something that might be up to hundreds of miles away, or might be on a screen that's 60 feet in front of you. You actually feel like you're a part of the experience. So what are some of the applications of 3D that we're starting to see more and more of? Where is it getting used? Where are some of these new sectors it's moving into? Obviously, I've already mentioned film, and I also mentioned the fact that it's moving into industrial and into medical, and I'm going to talk more about those as well. Now, stereoscopy has developed quite a bit through the film industry. The film industry pioneered it, and it has been in turn responsible for many of the new breakthroughs in stereoscopic 3D technology, including the development of polarized lenses and liquid crystal shutter glasses. So film has really pushed this forward for all of us. However, it's also made its way into industrial inspection. Stereoscopy is now being used to inspect dams and fuel tanks, to find inconsistencies, to find damage, and to better evaluate those particular issues that might have cropped up. Another example of stereoscopy being used would also be in medical, where you have surgeons who are performing remote surgery halfway across the world from their patient, and they are actually able to perceive what, through cameras in 3D, what the chest cavity looks like. Also, it's being used in nuclear medicine to help aid their creation of new medicines as well. China has implemented it in simulations, and it's starting to become used elsewhere, where this here is an example of a boat simulator that they use to train their crews. And the windows are actually covered in 3D stereoscopic panels, help bring the crew that much closer to what exactly it is they're trying to train them to do. So where's the future of all of this? Where's this all going? What's the point of stereoscopy, and what's the development process of it all look like? Stereoscopy has been evolving since 1838. It's very old technology in our particular sense, but at the same time, it's also very, very young. It's still a lot to be developed. The most common, or the really interesting thing that's really happening right now is the introduction of 3D television. It's the most relevant to us at the moment. As 3D movies are being released on Blu-ray that you can buy yourself, 3D televisions are also becoming more popular. There's also been the discussion of converting over broadcast signals to 3D. The next progression from the current stereoscopic format we have is to autostereoscopics, which doesn't require the aid of any glasses of any kind. You just look at it and it appears 3D. Sony has created this ray modeler here, which projects a 3D stereoscopic image in a 360-degree arc around the unit, and it's fully interactive. The next progression is into holographics. This is an example of a pseudo-hologram that is created in a concert hall in Japan. The animated character here appears fully 3D without the aid of any sort of stereo glasses of any kind. And this is out in the open air, which typically you need some sort of tank for holographics, which is the ideal end goal of stereoscopy, is to move on to holographics, where we have a fully interactive 3D light projection of whatever the digital imagery is that we are trying to interact with. And that is the future of stereoscopy.